contention.
Yes, okay.
Just great in theory.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if we could settle down, please. Thank you. It's now coming up to 7 o'clock, so we are time to start the full council. And as usual, we will start with public participation. I will be using the timer. So first up, we have John Revel from Strode College. Would you like to?
Cheers. Thank you very much indeed, Chair, for inviting me. And this is.
Do you want to use the mic?
Can you hear me all right now? Or
I can. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? Yes. Oh, this is quite weird down this stand. Right. Okay. There's a PowerPoint coming up in a second. So thank you for the opportunity just to talk about what my colleague Sarah Probert discussed at the committee meeting a couple of weeks ago, which is part of the Glastonbury Town deal and how the Strode College, will be hopefully using this small hall downstairs to put some technology equipment in there, not to use as a classroom. That's quite important. So I'm just waiting for the slides to come up. Next slide. Any slide?
Just warming up.
What I've tried to do on here when it comes on. Next slide. Okay, what I've tried to do is put onto the room downstairs. So as my colleague said at the last meeting, or the last committee meeting, we'd like to put 5 interactive screens, large screens, downstairs. Had quite a few conversations with Connor, and the reality here is that they won't be installed physically connected to the walls. They'll be on stands, they'll be movable. I've tried to give an inference there of what it would look like downstairs. The stand's there so it can be moved. There is very little impact on the infrastructure in the room. And I've said up there, which I can't really read particularly well, whatever is there, that unless essential, they will not be physically connected to the walls. Okay, next slide, please, Connor. Cheers, thank you. So I just thought it was worth pointing out, this is part of the Glastonbury Town deal. And one of the things, I've been in post now for a year, and what's been an amazing journey, but we are the College of Glastonbury, we are the College of Mendip, and we really want to be part of that community. And one thing I'm very, very aware of is not wanting to be seen to be dominating the community or putting ideas in there. It's about working with, cooperatively with the community and offering where we can education and skills training, which this is a real opportunity for that. Okay. I've said up there, there's an extensive opportunity. So the Glastonbury Town deal, what the elements of the funds that we've gained are to allow us to actually develop some sustainability materials and create them using the latest technology for sharing with the local community. It also gives us an opportunity to create the University Glastonbury Centre, which is something that I think will be very powerful within Glastonbury. We've already been given the nod that we can use that language, but we need a space within Glastonbury to actually get that over the thing. Okay, and then the quid pro for the equipment going in there was with we not pushing out any of the local community, but we would deliver some of our higher education, predominantly history, heritage and archaeology, potentially through the rooms downstairs, but not exclusively. So this is not about exclusivity. It's about an opportunity to develop resources for the community and to use within the community.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. That's great. Any questions, please, for John? No, that's great. Thank you so much for keeping us updated.
Okay,
very appreciative.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Really exciting. Yes, is that a question, Mike? Right, sorry, you do have a question.
Will we have the opportunity to go and have a look in Strode College?
Yes, you're more than welcome to come have a look. If you want to make it this week, otherwise I'm off for 3 weeks. So if you can make it at the end of this week, that'd be brilliant. Okay, but just to be quite statemented, this would not look like our immersive rooms. It's not a classroom. So it's just got the same technology and to share with a wider broader range of people. Okay.
Oh, yes, Nick.
Thank you. Is it possible to update us on the building works in Strode College?
Which ones? The ones that are going on at the moment?
The over at Strode.
Yeah, we've got the ones that are going on at the moment. So that's actually what it is. So it's what we're calling Strode Creative Immersive Learning Labs. So the whole of one floor within the B block has been demolished, and it's going to be creating this at the end of September. Okay.
We can have a look through.
More than welcome. Very more than welcome to come look. Yeah, by September the 30th, apparently. So, but one of the immersive rooms, we've already got one built already.
Brilliant. Thank you,
Okay.
Terry. Any other questions, please, for John?
Okay.
Nope. I
Thank
think
you very
you're
much.
off the hook. Thank you, John. That's really exciting. Right. Thank you. Our next participator. So I will just say, because the light comes on a couple of times. Sorry, I just let John know.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. So just to say, because the light newspaper comes up a few times, is to say that this item was brought up because it was a conversation and was voted on at a town, what was it called? Town meeting, yes, which was downstairs. So the people came, and this is what they wanted to talk about. So if we could have the first speaker, please, Frida Smallwood. Thank you, Frida. So this is item, yeah, number 10, the light paper. Should be on.
Okay, got me?
Got you.
Thanks for the chance to speak about the light paper, the uncensored truth paper. Several countries, Ireland, Australia, and dare I say Israel, have felt it necessary to publish an alternate viewpoint to the single narrative that the mass media chose to foist on us. Many scientists, doctors, specialists were silenced and had no way to tell us what was really going on. Whistleblowers were ridiculed, and some lost their jobs. Some have even lost their homes and families. We are not breaking any laws in this country giving out this paper free to the public. In fact, we have been led to believe free speech is still allowed in this country. One day, someone came along and ran off with 2 bags of papers saying they would report us to the local police. We knew that they were on patrol around the town, as we'd seen them earlier. 2 of us followed the person with our papers and asked for them back, only to be told we could have the bags, but he would recycle the papers. As the policeman returned, we called him over and explained what had happened. He said, "Leave it to me." He retrieved and returned our papers. We do have a case number with regards to this incident. Personally, as a team, we feel what we are doing is very valuable and important, giving people a chance to have another opinion and showing we value their intelligence. Questioning minds need facts to make decisions. We have been willing to listen to their stories during the last 3 years. One person I know has saved every copy of the light paper and has decided to will them to his family when he dies, as he wants them to understand what we have been living through. We can never know how much difference we have made in people's lives just being there for them on a Tuesday. Some of them felt very alone and isolated. We have been the link. For myself, I would like to think we have been their link to reality. One thing needs saying: truth does not fear investigation. So I would like to give you all a free copy, making it possible for you to have a chance to see what others have been reading. Don't be influenced. Make up your own minds. Remember, truth does not fear investigation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Frida. That was great. Right, let's go straight to Leela then, please. Freedom of speech. Oh.
Hi everyone, we would like to start by thanking all of the councils and members of Glastonbury Town Council who attended the Great Net Zero debate. Thank you for listening and thank you for reflecting on information that is not readily available in the mainstream. When I initially contracted for the hire of the town hall for the Great Net Zero debate, I was offered the community rate. I was given no explanation for the reason of this rate, and I assumed it was due to the nature of the event, the object being to share information with the townsfolk. We intended to hold an inclusive event with entry at the door by no donation. When the council expressed fears of a possible stampede at the door and a possible overcrowding, we did our best to allay any concerns by introducing the idea of a ticketed event. We priced the tickets at a nominal fee of £5 in order to manage numbers and make sure that people honoured their commitment to attend once they had a ticket. Having met the needs of the council halfway, we were shocked to be told a week prior to the event that a further £300 odd was required by the council due to the sale of tickets. Remember accountability as one of the Nolan principles. Did the town clerk, Conor Ogilvie Davidson, step outside his office in refusing to discuss this controversy? Contract law does not allow the terms of a contract to be changed mid-contract. Does the council show transparency and impartiality in its failure to explain the pricing of the town hall, for the hire of the town hall? Shortly after signing the contract, I was informed that Glastonbury Town Council expected us to hire professional security guards for the event. On inquiry as to the reason for this, I was told that the subject matter of the Great Net Zero debate was contentious. The reason given surprised me, as I was aware of other similar non-alcoholic discussion forum events that had not required the hire of professional security. At the Deep Adaptation event with the co-founder of XR, a controversial group known for vandalising buildings and works of art, no professional security was required. On the recommendation of the council, I contacted their go-to security firm, who advised me that 2 security guards were sufficient for this type of event. And so I was surprised again to be told about a week before the event that we were expected to provide then 4 security guards. Did the council show prejudice with regards to the Glastonbury, to the Great Net Zero debate in their stipulations regarding security guards? For Glastonbury Town Council to directly cancel the Great Net Zero debate would have been a blatant act of prejudice, but amidst the series of hurdles put in our way and rumours circulating that certain members of Glastonbury Town Council were doing everything in their power to obstruct the event, the question arises, are Glastonbury Town Council recognising the Human Rights Act of 1998, which forbids discrimination due to beliefs, including political beliefs? Councillor Michael White is amongst those who condemn the Great Net Zero debate as being extreme right-wing. Considering our opposition to fake green Tory policy, is this a measured and rational criticism? It is easier to ridicule than to rationalise. COVID errors referred to by Jem Bendel may include the limitations on freedom of information and freedom of speech. During that time, to question the mainstream narrative was considered dangerous and antisocial. Is it wrong to disagree? In expressing our opinions, we open up to reflection and the possibility of getting closer to the truth. What is the name of a system in which only one single viewpoint is tolerated?
Thank you. Time is...
As the town clerk points out, the people of Glastonbury Town are angry. Is Glastonbury Town Council in agreement that freedom of information and freedom of speech are vital in reflecting a true democracy? Thank you.
Thank you, Leila. Are we taking any questions? Any questions from the table? Yes.
Yes, please.
Councillor Cook.
It's all right. Yeah, John, I'll stand up. You say you were told that you had to have 4 security guards.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. How many people were you expecting? How many tickets have you sold?
Well, it was a full house.
So,
But-
can you idea the numbers?
Yeah, it's the full house is, well, that also varied during the contracting process with the town council, but the numbers eventually were agreed upon were 200. And I explained to the security firm who normally does the security for the town council what the event was, and they suggested that two security guards were ample.
Absolutely. That's the law.
Thank you.
75 people attendance at an event requires 1 security guard, but you don't want 1, 2.
Yeah.
So it's 1 security guard for every 75 people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you were charged for 4.
We were asked by Glastonbury Town Council, we were told that their requirements were 4 security guards when we did the walk around.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Leila.
you.
If you'd like to actually submit that as a question, or if it is submitted as a question, then we can get a reply back to you.
What question are you referring
Well,
to?
about what happened, then we will definitely.
Yeah, I
send
was
you a
considering
reply.
it to lodge it as a complaint, but as there was several of my friends here today, I thought I would prefer also, and as you are all here, that everybody could know about it for the sake of transparency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leela. Right, next we have Barbara Gell. Is that? And it's about the Light newspaper as well. Thank you.
Can you hear me? All right. Firstly, may I, with respect, ask what has precipitated this sudden interest in the Light paper now, even at the town council meeting, and when was that, and what date was it, and why were we not informed, after they have been distributed for nearly 3 years without comment? Could there be any correlation between the latest issue, number 34, which states there is no climate crisis and which is in complete conflict to the council's own misguided stance and policies on this matter? Is it merely a coincidence that after a very successful net zero debate on Friday the 7th of July, exposing some of the myths, misinformation and manipulation of data on climate change, that it has been slipped in as a subheading, 10B, just 4 days later on the agenda of the Town Council meeting on the 11th of July? The Light paper is fiercely independent and bypasses the untrustworthy mainstream media and government-controlled propagandists. Volunteers peacefully and lawfully hand out 250,000 of the Light papers free every month nationwide because we passionately believe that the public is entitled to the only uniquely uncensored paper available. In contrast to a well-known organisation, we do not block roads and prevent essential journeys, glue ourselves to roads and railings and priceless works of art in an attempt to promote our cause. These actions only alienate the public. The Light is not political and has no funding from big donors from political parties. It's funded solely by sponsors, advertisers, and we the people. Mariana Spring has recently delivered an extremely biased hit piece on the Light paper for the BBC, which has been labelled the BBC's bluntest hatchet job yet by the highly respected investigative journal UK Column on the 12th of June. I strongly recommend that you check this out. UK Column described it as really low-quality journalism, didn't have any pretense at being reasonable, out-and-out state propaganda full of innuendo, all a kind of dog-whistle nastiness, and that we must accept every narrative and statement that the state provides as a single source of truth, with the BBC as its mouthpiece. It was simply a hit piece, absolutely dreadful. Darren Nesbitt, interviewed by Brian Gerrish of the UK Column, said Mariana accuses the Light of promoting violence, quote, when we never, ever do. She asked that question 10 or 12 times. It's possible it could be libelous. She seems to forget the whole nation was harassed and bullied and mocked into following these nonsensical measures and still are, and is going to carry on with climate change. One of the easiest ways to promote propaganda is to accuse the other side of what you're doing yourself. Sorry. I have it on good authority that since Mariana's interview, the donations and orders for the Light paper have actually increased, including ours. The Daily Telegraph headlines, the BBC has a reputation for being a truth teller, but in COVID, it did what the government wanted. As you may be aware, the BBC is currently besieged by serious sexual scandals. In fact, a mid-term review of the BBC's Royal Charter is examining whether the corporation is sufficiently impartial and the extent to which it is representing audiences from working class backgrounds. The most exciting development in recent days comes from Mark Harper, the new Conservative Transport Secretary, who has stopped government funding for all new LTNs. I've put an end to government funding that are banning cars or making it difficult for motorists. As Transport Secretary and a Conservative, heaven forfend a Conservative being a Conservative, I believe in giving people more choice in how to travel, not banning cars from places. That's why I have stopped funding for any new LTNs. A number of them were implemented during the pandemic, and there was, because of that, a lack of consultation. So I certainly think local authorities ought to reflect on whether the schemes they implemented actually do have support in their areas. For local authorities who have got schemes that weren't popular, were controversial and weren't very well supported, then it would probably be wise for them to look at them again.
Sorry, Barbara, we are in our 3 minutes. If you could just round up, please.
So thank you, Darren Nesbitt, for having the courage, foresight and initiative to produce the Light paper, the truth paper, for which there's a very real need to counter and expose the lies, hypocrisy and misinformation which actually comes from the establishment and which uses the MSM and the discredited BBC as its mouthpiece. As Frida so rightly says, from a quote kindly supplied by one of our colleagues, Jonathan Taylor, the truth does not fear investigation.
Thank you.
Yours, I think.
Thank you, Barbara. I will just repeat, though, because you did say at the beginning, where did this come from? This came from the public at a public consultation that happened downstairs. So this hasn't come from anything we've done. It hasn't come from anything that's happened recently. There was a member of the public.
How do we know that?
You are the public. Okay, I'm not going to take any because, yes, it was advertised, it was the public, it was the yearly. John Cousins, would you like to maybe answer this? Thank you. And then we'll have no more from the...
So can you hear me? Is this on? No. So is it on or no? The sound light's on. I'll speak louder. The meeting in question is called the annual town meeting, and that is a meeting that happens every year in Glastonbury. It's not a meeting of the town council, but a meeting of the community. And there's one every year. It happened on April 4th this year, and it's publicised. Maybe a meeting next year that you wish to come along to, because the information that is raised there is raised by members of the public and debated by members of the public. Unfortunately for you and your supporters, the Life magazine or that Life newspaper came up as an issue that some of the people in the town were concerned about. And they asked if the town council could have an advisory committee or a house and finish group to look at the Life.
Your group's the issue, actually. You're taking away our rights.
I'm really sorry. I'm not going to continue this. You've had the information.
Just to say that it's on the agenda tonight to be debated by the town council as to whether or not we set one up. So nothing has been set in motion at the moment. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Right, can we have the last speaker, please? And can I ask, please, that we keep to time because it is getting on. So we have Indigo Rose.
No, my name's Inigo.
Sorry?
No D.
Inigo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Inigo.
I'm just
Thank
going to
you.
put my top on so I know where I am. Okay, God save the Queen. She ain't no human being, censored. Banned, 1977, Sex Pistols. What good did that do? Number one hit, I suppose. 1994, 6 members of LGBT, that was what it was called then, outrage. Protesters were arrested for support of gays, Jews, and women. So, 24 years later, 180-degree switch, and we've got Graham Linham verbal harassment case regarding dead naming a transitional woman. So you might ban the light paper today, but you might find the Telegraph, the Mirror, Guardian banned tomorrow. Okay, so censorship goes two ways. What is censorship and what is the truth? And how do we, the people in Glastonbury, arrive at the truth of an object, a situation, and why is it important? Why is it important to see the whole object? To understand that the people of Glastonbury are not children, and they're perfectly capable of making their own informed decisions and choices. And we all must do, because we're all alive and we're living our lives and we have to grasp the information around us. So my concern here is not so much about the light paper, it's more about a patriarchal view upon the people of Glastonbury as being incapable of making their own informed decisions by choosing to read and weigh up what's right and wrong in the light. Now, I haven't really read the light, but I did look at it today online. And I looked at a number of the titles historically over the last 3 years, I guess it's been. I look at this one, Constitutional Crisis, which just came out April this year. Charles III may put our system of democracy in danger. Why is that? Well, because the Bill of Rights of 1688 excludes politics from being advocated by king or queen. So what's he doing in the climate gate, right? And you know what? The Light, which I haven't really read, it voiced this. You know who else did? The Telegram, the Guardian, etc., and so on. But if you look further back through the Light, you'll find headlines on the front pages, which then 2 years later
the mainstream follows. So if you want the forefront, these people at the forefront. Now, I did read a few articles today, and I thought, well, there's quite a lot of editorial stuff here. And I thought, wow, I don't agree with quite a lot of it. But I also saw that there was good in it.
Please, thank you.
Am I down? So my point is, the truth will always rise to the top. And if you try and censor it, it will just bubble up quicker. And you really want to be looking for the truth. I mean, that's you're the head of what we are. And we want you to find the truth. And if you're into censoring it, then you aren't for us. And we know it, and it will come up another way. We'll just make it stronger. The reason why we don't want to just follow the light, we want to follow what an informed debate brings about. And if the light is wrong on a subject, we'll know.
Thank you
And if
very
the
much.
light is right on the subject, we know. And this is what we want. We don't want censorship.
Lovely. Thank you very much. That was very clear. Thank you very much, Inigo. That's really great. Right, we're about to start the meeting. Anybody who does want to leave now is very welcome to leave quietly. But we will go into lighting of the peace candle. I would ask, actually, Frida, would you please light our unity candle? Thank you very much. And then we will stand and have a minute's contemplation and silence.
Doesn't want to light.
It's okay. Oh, come on, will it? Beautiful. Thank you very much.
And there was light.
There was light.
Thank you, everyone. So if you would join us in standing, if you could wait a moment to leave while we have a minute's silence, please. If you'd all like to, thank you. Thank you. Right, I draw your attention to the agenda. So to receive any apologies, please, for absence and reasons. Thank you, John.
A point of order. As a number of the public have come to talk to us about the light being on the agenda, is there any merit in moving that item further up to the top of the agenda so that the public can listen to our debate and then, if they wish, retire from the rest of the meeting?
What do other councillors feel? Yes, Councillor Smythe.
That's a good idea. If we could have the usual declarations of interest, apologies and minutes, but I'd like to take advice from the town clerk on that.
Yeah, Your Worship, if you'd like to take items 1 and 2 on the agenda and then move item 10 to become item 3, and you can do 10B and then 10A if you wish, do it the other way around.
Okay.
And then move to sign the minutes.
Okay, so we do it before the minutes, yes?
Well, it's completely up to you.
No,
Your Worship,
that's
but
fine. If that
your
is
right to
a
it then.
procedure, then that is a procedure. Fabulous, thank you.
So I've had apologies from Councillor Henderson owing to feeling unwell, Your Worship. They're the only apologies I've had. Do you know the reason, Councillor Osborne?
Thank you. Lovely, thank you. Sorry, Councillor Osborne, you were just saying. Reason why Councillor Hart. Okay, thank you. Lovely. Okay, so on the request. Yes, do we have any declarations of interest, please? So have people...
I'm on the Town Deal Board.
Thank you. Town Deal Board. Anybody else? Yes.
Parish Council.
Thank you, Terry. Paul?
I'm on the Town Deal Board.
Town Deal Board. Thank you very much, Paul. Yes, Councillor John.
Worship, I'm on the Town Deal Board. I'm also Director of Glastonbury Information Centre, CIC, and if it comes up, I'm also Trustee of the Glastonbury Mental Health Network.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor, yes, Mike.
Chairperson of the Common Law Allotment Society.
Common Law Allotment Society. And myself, I'm the Deputy Chair of the Red Brick and on the Town Deal Board. And Ian Much has just entered the room. Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm just...
Oh, sorry, Nick.
Yeah, no, I was thinking maybe I should declare it on the Somerset Councillor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for my sins.
Yeah. Grateful we are too. Thank you. Any more for any more? Ian, we're just doing declarations. Do you have anything?
Apologies.
No probs. That's all you have to declare. That's all you have to declare. Fabulous. Thank you very much.
I wasn't going to be here, but I am.
We're glad. Thank you for turning up.
And then Rick reminded me.
Brilliant. Thank you. So let's go straight to then. We're just changing around the agenda slightly. We're going straight to number 10 on the agenda, to establish the membership. See, I wasn't actually aware this was going to be a debate or a conversation. I thought we were just establishing a membership for both of these working groups. I believe the conversation was had because it was voted upon during a public meeting.
April the 4th.
There was also yes, there was also for the A361 committee, which was also brought forward. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
Thank you, Your Worship. Could I just establish, has this council itself actually decided to create an advisory committee or a committee to look at the light? Because the annual town meeting is not a meeting of the council.
Yes, Your Worship, if I may. At not the additional town council meeting in June, but at the town council meeting proper in June, there was a report received written by myself from the outcomes of the annual meeting, and the three topics that the public at the annual meeting wished for the town council to consider this year were the A361, the light newspaper, and what the council does and doesn't do and can and can't do for the elderly and the lonely. So it was agreed at the last meeting to re-establish the A361 committee and to set up councillor-led working groups on the other two topics, one of them being the light newspaper and one of them being what the town council can, can't do, shouldn't do for the elderly and the lonely in town. So the town council has agreed to set those groups up, and it was left at that meeting for councillors to consider whether they wanted to be on any of those groups and for the membership to be decided at this meeting.
Yes, I think maybe you weren't at the meeting when this happened. Sorry, Councillor Cousins. Yes, Councillor Smythe.
It's maybe a controversial thing to say, but I see absolutely no reason whatsoever why we should have a working group to discuss the outcomes of the light newspaper on this town, because there are other publications that are freely available and some you have to purchase. Not mentioning the national newspapers, the press, which I think are much more worthy of discussion.
then all I can say to that is then it's a working group, and then that may be the findings of the working group. Councillor Cousins.
Thank you. Just the right to reply to my point of order, and thank you, Conor, for clarifying that. I do apologise that I wasn't here for the meeting when this was discussed. If I had been, and I'm conscious of the 6-month rule, but if I had been, I would have strongly suggested that there was no merit at all in the council debating a publication in any way, because we have absolutely no authority to, one, stop freedom of speech. Who has that authority at all? But secondly, there's nothing that we could do if the outcome decided that this council, for whatever reason, was opposed to that. And I can think of personally a number of publications, including, I wouldn't hesitate to say, the Daily Mail, the Sun, that I think would probably be papers that, if we were able to debate these sorts of things, we should include. But there we are.
Councillor Osborne.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything John's just said, which is quite unusual. I find it actually really quite bizarre that this has been brought up, because the town meeting, which sounds frightfully grand, I think it had about 20 punters turning up. It was well advertised, in fairness, it was. I saw it was all over Facebook, but not many people turned up. And a handful of people, and I'm sure Conor's got the numbers there if anyone wanted to talk about the horror of the Light newspaper and the fact that it was having a terrible impact on this town. And last council meeting, as has been said, things which had been discussed at that town meeting, which is not binding, it's just a, you can come and have your piece like you have tonight. That's what, that was one of the things they wanted to talk about. I see absolutely no reason why this town council should set up any kind of working group on what people in this town read.
Thank you, Councillor Osborne.
The next thing is book burning outside the cross.
Thank you, Councillor Osborne. Can I... Our clerk has something to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Worship. It's only arisen as an outcome of the annual meeting. If no councillors wish to join the working group, there won't be a working group. You agreed to set one up, but then if no one wants to join it, it just kind of falls into the ether. But if there are councillors who wish to join it, you have agreed to set one up. So that's why it's on tonight's agenda.
Thank you very much. So yes, I would just like to answer this one too. What came up was actually a few people, including a couple who had found a story which was referring to anti-homosexuality. So that's why they brought it forward. That's why this particular couple brought it forward. So I think it's prudent for us to personally to have a working group to look at it. And if we find there is nothing, but I think it's our duty. I think it's our duty to look at this if people have come up. Yes, Councillor.
Well, I've got to say...
that one isn't working, Councillor.
No.
There's one next to you.
Okay. In contradiction of some other counts, I've got to say that the Light is promoting the notion that there is no climate emergency, that CO2 is irrelevant, tell me if I'm wrong, to the global warming phenomenon, or that there's no global warming, I'm not sure which. And this is in blunt conflict with the council's objective to reduce CO2 consumption. It lies at the heart of what we're doing.
Right.
Because the council accepts the consensus internationally that there is a problem with CO2.
But that doesn't have to be. So sorry, settle down, please. Please, we don't talk over one another, please.
I'm just saying why I think we should look at it, because it directly challenges a policy which the council has established or signed up to, which is to try and reduce the CO2 footprint, carbon footprint of Glastonbury. So how can we not look at it? It doesn't mean it doesn't mean to say we're going to burn books or stop it being distributed or do any of those things which arouse people's concerns. We're not. Nobody's even suggested it. But I don't see anything wrong with looking at it and trying to understand why people have come to this conclusion, which conflicts so starkly, certainly with the Green Party, not just the Green Party, all parties, the Tory Party and the Labour Party are all signed up, well, no good shaking your head, they are, they're all signed up to reducing
Thank you, Ian.
footprint, whether you like it or not, they are.
That's great. Can I please ask the public to just let this happen? Thank you.
And therefore, it's clearly a responsibility that we take a look at what it's saying. I mean, equally, we could take a look at what the Daily Mail's saying or anybody else.
Yeah. Thank you, Ian. That's really great. Thank you. Councillor Smythe.
Thank you, Your Worship. Again, I repeat the good sense of Councillor Osborne and Councillor Cousins. What I said before, obviously this is a very controversial subject. I think people are entitled to their views, whether they want to call it flat earth theory or otherwise, and it's not for this council to debate. I think it would be foolish to go down this rabbit hole. I'd rather go up the Tor and find a more friendly one.
Thank you, Councillor Smythe. We'll just take a couple more of this, and I think maybe we should just go to vote, really. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's working. Okay, I'm not going to waste my time over this. I'm liberal by nature, I'm liberal by mind, and freedom of speech is absolutely paramount to me. So whether I agree or disagree, it's fine. So to me, absolutely fine. Thank you.
And then, sorry, somebody along here had the, thank you, Paul.
I think when we have a working group should be something that the council can actually achieve something. There's no point having a working group if the end result is something that has no effect on anybody. It's just a complete waste of time and money. And it's our money as well. So we've got there's lots of issues facing this town. Those are the things we should be focusing on.
Okay, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Well, with that, I think we're going to go for a vote. Would anybody like to make a proposal then? Councillor Cousins?
I propose that this council does not create a working group or advisory committee or committee to investigate the Light or any other publication.
Sorry, can you reword that? Because this is a working group that was being put up.
I propose that we do not form a working group to look at the Light.
I'm happy to second that.
Serena seconding it?
With respect, Your Worship, the Town Council's already agreed to set up a working group on this topic.
Which is what I was saying.
Unless you're going to suspend the 6-month rule, and in which case you need very particular wording, the way forward to not have a working group is for no one to volunteer to be on it. But if there are councillors who wish to volunteer to be on it, this Town Council has agreed to set one up.
Okay, can I just say, one, we're not taking any questions from, because we've had people come up, we've had a lot of discussion about this. It's also, we've been doing this for 3/4 of an hour, and we need to move on.
Who pays for it?
So, nobody pays for it.
Nobody. So
No. We're all voluntary, absolutely, and the working group wouldn't bring up any finance. There's no finance involved in a working group, so there's no money. So let's go back to who, if we can't do it, who will be on this working group? Hands up, anybody who wants to be on the working group. Okay, 2 members. Yeah.
It's for councillors to volunteer to be on it, and then the working group can invite other people once you
Lovely,
set
fabulous.
yourselves up.
So, right, we can be on it, and then we can invite people. So we'll start a dialogue.
Was it just yourself, Your Worship, and Councillor Much?
Councillor Much and Councillor Cook.
Councillor Cook.
I don't want to be a member of it, no.
Okay, well, maybe hold.
Fine.
No, hold, well, let's just do this one first, please.
Point of order.
So, Councillor Much, Councillor Don Francesco, fabulous. Thank you. Councillor Cook, do you have a question?
Point of order.
Yeah, just a question.
Yeah.
Councillors or anybody?
Listen, can you please, right. We've just done a vote for people who want to be on it. If you'd like to be on it, Councillor Cook, put your hand, right, then that's fine. Then once it's formed, people can then be invited onto it. Other members of the community can be invited onto it to have a proper working group.
Community.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
That was my question before
Right.
I'd even considered
Okay.
putting my name forward. So that you're actually saying that with Councillor Much there, he can invite anybody else randomly in the town to join up.
I don't know if it's randomly, we'll set out for a working group. It's the people who are, do you want to set out what the working group and who we invite onto the working group?
Yeah, I mean, you could invite the entire of the light, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Have representation from your.
Yes, Lily, thank you very much. That is people that we will be bringing on. Okay, so moving on. Yes, Councillor.
Leave it to her.
Councillor Smythe.
Advice from the, thank you, Worship. Advice from the clerk is a quorum for a working group, because I believe 2 councillors is not sufficient to form a working group of this council.
It's not common sense. It's not a committee. It's possibly the most informal way to consider a topic and bring back a report. There's no quorum, so 2 councillors is plenty.
Okay, we'll take one more question, then we're moving on.
Point of clarity, advisory committees don't actually require any membership of any councillors at all. So if it was an advisory committee, which is not, but I think that would probably be how it should sit within our standing orders. It doesn't actually require any councillors to be members.
Thank you for that clarification. Right, we have worked on this one. People, if anybody else would like to stay, please do. If not, we're moving on to establish the membership of a working group to understand the potential provision for the elderly and lonely, and then we'll go back to the original agenda. Thank you very much. We can be in touch.
Good night, well said.
They said they wouldn't be.
No worries, no worries.
Right, working group to consider to understand the potential provision for the elderly and the lonely. So could we take members, please? Thank you very much. Councillor Nick Cottle. Councillor Lokabandu. Councillor Don Francesco. Councillor Oakden.
10 seconds.
Obviously overpriced.
Councillor McDougall.
Oh yes, this is.
Any other members, please, that would like to what's going on? Could you leave quietly, please? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Who else did you have?
Sorry, that's Paul.
That's mine.
Wait.
Who else did you have? LB, Indra, Nick Cottle.
Sorry. Margaret and Lindsay, yes. Thank you very much. Any other working group members would like to come forward for the elderly and lonely? Thank you very much. And Councillor Osborne. Brilliant. That looks like a very healthy working group. Fabulous. If we could now please return to the original agenda.
Back to the minutes, I guess.
Yeah, back to the minutes, please. If we can approve and sign as a correct record the minutes held on the 28th of June. So page 17. Any page 17, going on to page 8. Oh, yes, sorry, Councillor.
Would it be possible in future meetings to have these put up on the screen, because it's very difficult to find on the computer when you're doing other things as well.
I've got it now anyway. Okay, you were, yes, all the paperwork did come in one. There's a way to. Right. Have you got it now? Perfect. Yes, Councillor Smith.
It's been my request, would it be possible to have them on the screen, because it's easier to see?
Yes, Councillor.
Could I just check with the clerk that the governance thing and everything else was submitted on time?
The auditor's reports?
Yeah. So we had the extraordinary meeting in order to meet the deadline for submission.
Okay, well, let's get this set up and then I'm sure Connor can answer those questions. Right, can people see that? Do they need a light off? Mike, is that okay for you? Okay, so what page are we on? Right, 17. Any comments, page 17? Page 18. Thank you. And there was a question from Michael about whether the audit.
Yes, it was all submitted on time, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Of course it was. Perfect. Any suggestions, any notices, any points? Thank you very much. Can't spell July. Thank you. Fabulous.
Worship.
Oh.
Could you sign and date in the box on the last page rather than...
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Right, can we please hear now the actions from the last meeting? An update and actions.
Thank you, Your Worship. A number of items have gone to property and assets for consideration, including a water feature for a town improvement, and a potential use of Herbie's Field for car boot sales. The Town Centre Crime Reduction Advisory Committee asked for a breakdown of figures, which I believe you've all got tabled in front of you, which you can talk about during the police report. I asked the police for an update, which I've received, which I circulated by email. It arrived this afternoon, but I can put it up on the screen. The budget monitoring report layout is going to be considered at the Finance and General Purposes meeting in July, later this month. The working groups came to this agenda for you to decide the membership. Councillor McDougall was nominated as the local community network representative, and I shared with Councillor McDougall all the relevant information. And in terms of the additional meeting actions, the internal processes that were agreed have been put in place, and I am waiting from the company who provides the software to pay for it, but I have emailed them and asked, well, expressed a wish that Glastonbury Town Council would like to purchase it. So that's the actions, Your Worship.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Connor. Right. Item 5 on the agenda, to note the neighbourhood beat team update and the latest crime statistics reports. So this was sent as an addition, I believe.
Yes, Your Worship. I circulated it by email. I will just get it on the screen in a second.
Lovely.
And also there is a printed piece of paper which I ask ideally not to take with you. It's not confidential, but the police don't want that breakdown circulated more widely than this meeting, because low levels of crime can lead to victims being identified, and the police don't want that. But they have shared that because the Town Council has repeatedly asked for a breakdown, more so than you get on the police website for different types of crime.
Brilliant. So this was in answer to breaking it down because of violent offences and sexual offences. And the outcome of this at the town centre crime group, advisory group, he broke down the statistics for us, but also had a look at towns our size and actually said we are under. So crime is actually being reduced in this town. Yes, Councillor Cottle.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Well, thank you, Your Worship. I'm looking at it. I don't see any shoplifting here. Am I blind?
Public order offences, I believe.
That's what it comes under.
I expect so.
And I also had today, while I'm talking about it, so we're all aware, I didn't see somebody, one of the shops has been trying to call the police on all of our relevant numbers and has not got an answer from one of them. Now that is not good enough, whatever, because even if one, there should be one available at least, but they tried all of them and we're not getting any response whatsoever. So that's pretty sad, I think.
Thank you. Yes, and if that does actually count for why statistics, because they actually said that obviously things can only get done if there is a reporting of. So the reporting of it is the most important part. Sorry, I think it was Councillor White and then...
Yeah, there were a lot of police in town today, so there's probably at least 6 different vans and a lot of foot patrols.
Wow.
So police were around.
Great, wonderful. Sorry, Councillor Osborne, did you have... Sorry.
What Councillor Cottle was talking about was Aldi was, I believe it was, trying to contact the police all day. So presumably if they're in the town centre, they can't make it out to Aldi. But that was actually really awful. They were constantly putting it on Facebook that they were trying to get in touch with the police. And I noticed, you're right what you just said. The problem we have with these statistics is they are what are reported. So if, for example, in a town in Mendip with a slightly larger population, people don't report so much, then these are actually skewed figures. They're not robust at all. But what I would point out is a massive disproportionate number of them in St Benedict.
Yes, there is.
Which presumably is the high street, I imagine. Yeah. Shoplifting you could do in St Mary's, really, or St Edmunds. But I'm actually concerned that the police are not attending these meetings. And what they've done is by setting up their little, whatever it is, antisocial behaviour club, they're actually not... I can't remember the last time I saw a policeman at one of these town council meetings. And they are actually required to be here. And I think it's appalling and that we should write to them and point that out.
Thank you, Councillor Osborne. I believe we have spoken to them quite a few times, and that's why they've they put these forward for us, and also on the crime town centre crime group. But would you like to put in that they come to this meeting again? Yeah.
I mean, given what was happening,
yeah.
And I mean, that's not like some small outlet. That's a big shop, and they were really kind of distressed.
Okay, so we put in a recommendation, please, for the police, but also to say about the being contactable as well. Not being contactable on the phone. Yes, sorry, Councillor Manning.
Just to say, with regard to the incident at Oldie, my understanding was it was the Oldie were trying to phone the mobile numbers of the various beat team and the PCSOs and all those people, and they weren't getting through. And it could well be that they weren't working. But my real point is that if they phone those people, that's not reporting a crime. That doesn't count towards any statistics whatsoever. So the people have got to phone 101 or 999, depending on the severity. I know there were problems with 999 a few weeks ago. The other thing is, I thought there was a stabbing in town on Monday at the top of the high street. Apparently it was closed off, people in white suits wandering around.
Wow.
But that doesn't appear to be on this list.
This isn't, I don't think this is from like this is from like a month or so ago. Where are we?
To the 6th of July.
Yeah.
Was that the night the helicopter was flying everywhere? It was Tour Leisure. Yeah, maybe.
Sorry, Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Cousins.
I think that I would reiterate what Councillor Manning has said. The police clearly said to this council on many occasions over many years that the best way for us as a community to ensure a larger police presence in the town is for people to ring up and report crimes through 101, is it? And
1999.
And those are logged, and the police distribute their resources against the called in incidents. And so that should be a message that this town council perhaps encourages through our Facebook and our website, our residents to do. The other message that I think was clear to me and attending councillors at the meeting that was held with the temporary or acting inspector is that the rate of crime in Glastonbury is going down, and that I believe is in no small measure to the amount of policing that's been put into the town. But that's good news for Glastonbury and something I think we should applaud. And the comparison with other towns in the Mendips or South Somerset is to give us maybe not the most robust of figures or the most scientific of figures, but the figures that exist around how Glastonbury compares over last year with some other places, because there has been a concerted effort to paint this town as the worst place in Somerset for crime, and we can see clearly that we are not the worst.
Thank you, Councillor. Any more questions on the crime figures or observations?
Update from the beat team, Your Worship, is on the screen behind everyone, but it was circulated by email once I received it.
Thank you.
I received it at 12:49 this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Oh, there we go.
Your Worship, if I may just make a point of clarity, the second to last sort of line on its own that says crime is down 15.6% in the last 3 months.
Thank you, Councillor. It says 84 less calls.
Almost one call less a day for 3 months.
I just hope that's not because they're not reporting them. Sorry, yes.
Just one brief point on that. When we're out on the high street market, things like that, and people come and mention things that have happened to them, we encourage them to report them.
Brilliant, thank you. Yes, that came up in the High Street Crime Prevention meeting, was that we actually do either run a campaign, put it out on Facebook, social media, is encouraging people to actually log that call. Thank you, Margaret.
I've tried myself to log calls on the 101 system, and it's like, well, if you've got about 4 hours to wait before somebody answers you. But what I found a way around it is they ask you to press a button for a callback, And so I press the button for call back, and I've got one within about 15 minutes. They do come back to you. But I think one of the problems is that if people aren't listening to what the police are saying when they're saying there's a queue, you're in a queue, and they go, oh, for God's sake, just put the phone down. I think that's what's happening. But if they could just listen a little bit more to the instruction, they will get a call back from the police, and then they can actually report whatever they need to report. And I do think that's what happens. People just don't get an instant response, so down goes the phone, and the police aren't there. And I think a lot of that is a problem.
Thank you, Margaret. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
Right of reply, Your Worship. There is also, most people have a mobile phone these days. There's also an online incident reporting platform where the incident can be typed in while it's happening on the phone, which gets registered as well with the police and gets given an incident number. So there's more than just phoning in. You can actually put it through a website, and I think that it would be very useful if the town council is publicising how members of the public can register and report a crime, that we also put the link to that platform as well.
That's a good suggestion. Thank you, Councillor Cousins. Any more? Yes, please.
Also on the crime reduction committee for the town high street, and one thing you might want to be aware of is a source of tension for the church is they have to lock the churchyard every evening, but they find it quite stressful because it's often full of people who don't want to leave, maybe they're not in the best state and become a bit abusive, and they would love to find some way of finding some backup to help them with a bit of manpower or authority or whatever to do that locking up. They've approached the town hall staff who are not very keen, but a lot of their volunteers are quite old and don't want to be abused. So that's a bit unresolved at the moment, but they're certainly looking for solutions.
Thank you. There's also, I think, there is a certain amount of homophobic attack that was actually going on as well. So the staff, there's not much. We've been asked if we do so, if it come through Somerset, if there's the Somerset workers maybe that open and close the toilets at St John's car park. Because apparently they come in the morning and they open, they come in the evening and close it. Exactly. If there could be any, if we could ask anyone working in Somerset Council whether they would be available to be with them at the...
Connor, if you can send me an email on that, I'll get on it tomorrow. I'm a bit busy on meetings all the rest of the week, but I will sneak it in there somewhere.
Thank
to
you.
Get on that one.
Thank you very much. And we will just keep an eye on that one as well, because that is not acceptable. People being threatened. Thank you. Any more on the crime figures? But thank you. Let's just note that it's, for now anyway, the statistics look good, but let's just keep on to make sure they are actually being reported. Right, moving on to consider item 6, to consider the schedule of payments. I've got one here. Oh, here we go.
We're circulated, but if you'd like to put on the board, it might be tricky for me, but I can try with that.
Has everyone got a copy? Who needs a copy?
Yeah,
I've got,
We're circulated in advance of the...
yeah, I've got a copy here if you want to share mine. I've looked at it.
Have a quick look.
Yeah, no, that's fine, Connor.
These are usually all your bills, aren't they? Invoices, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So there's also, so it's page 1 and page 2. Oh, sorry, Councillor Cook?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, item 2573, good designer. Logo illustration for Town Hall and Excalibur.
Ah,
What's Excalibur?
Our bar.
Sorry?
Our bar.
Excalibur.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, how unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's the same name that it's been tried before. When Mendit first took on Tor Leisure Centre, Sports and Leisure Centre, and there was a consortium there, and they eventually formed up and called themselves Excalibur Leisure, and promptly went bust 18 months later.
VAR.
Same name,
Pardon?
VAR at the end.
Excalibur, it doesn't really matter.
Well, I
I
think
mean, it's just by association, the name is not a good name. But I'm just.
there are
be aware
so
that-
many things, thank you very much, Councillor Cook, there are so many things that have been called Excalibur in this town. We could do a poll, I suppose.
Yeah, I know, just asking for it.
I can't wait to see it. Oh, sorry, Councillor White.
Thank you. Line 2580, gas. Are we able to say yet whether we've used less gas than previously? So that was the the May one. So 1965.
The press release, Councillor White, that the Climate Emergency and Resilience Officer wrote, I believe the figure was a reduction of 39%. Probably equivalent to what the old boiler used to chuck up the flue.
Thank you, Councillor Cousins.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah.
I wonder whether this, now that we have a new unitary authority, this is a good time to raise items 2618, 2619, 2620 and 2612. This council pays rates and pays rates on the town hall and the car park and chapel and St Dunstan's house to the new unitary authority, but those rates are almost like double taxing the taxpayer because we raise our money to pay those rates through our precept. So it's a kind of stealthy double tax by the new county council. Of course, they've inherited this stealthy tax from their predecessors, but I wonder whether this would be a good time to approach Somerset County Council and say, please, let's not make the good citizens of Glastonbury pay council tax twice. And if they could reduce those rates to zero or give us a special dispensation not to pay any rates at all ever again, then we could probably put the precept down.
Is that a recommendation?
I do answer that one. Come on with it.
Please do.
You know as well as I know, that ain't going to happen. You're liable to be on the moon before that happens, but it's a good try. And because you couldn't do it for one town without doing it for everywhere else, and that would be rather expensive. And there's not a lot of money to go around at the moment, I can assure you. I wish there was, but there isn't any money, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere. Not at the moment, anyway.
May I, Your Worship?
Oh, yes.
I did actually, this topic came up a little while ago, and I did actually get an answer back from the business rates team at, well, I think it was then the county council, but it might have, actually, no, when was it? 18th of January, so it was then.
That was the military then.
But it basically says that the business rate regulations are set by central government, and they require Somerset Council, the billing authority, to charge business rates owned by both, so it charges itself, other councils or public bodies, and I believe as a preceptive authority we are not eligible for rate relief. I do agree it's an interesting quirk, but it's one, unfortunately, that does seem to be out of Somerset Council's control. Maybe it's something we should be lobbying the MP for.
Whoever they are.
Your Worship?
Yes.
I wonder, as the horror has been revealed that Somerset Unitary Authority are even charging themselves business rate on their own buildings, and then sending that to central government and not receiving all of it back from central government, whether we should encourage a unitary authority to make a case on behalf of all parish, town, the city council and itself to the Secretary of State that we should not be charging ourselves rates against money that's raised from the ratepayer.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just let that one land. Councillor Napper.
Thank you, Your Worship. From the answer from the Unitary Councillor just now, I just wish that he realised what he said, because for the last 3 or 4 years, he's been pounding me to get an answer why we are paying the rents on it, and he's just given me his answer, and I just wish that he knew that 2 or 3 years ago. Thank you.
I've got to reply to that. I want sorry, but you know the game as well as I do.
Whilst it remains a game. Great. Do we want any outcome from that, or are we furthering thoughts? Fabulous. Any more questions, please?
I think John.
Sorry, yes, Councillor Cook.
Yeah, from budget and monitoring, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, just a question about the bar.
Oh, no, sorry. We're still on the,
Righto.
sorry,
Yes,
let's
that's what I
just
thought.
sign off. Sorry, thank
That's what
you,
I thought. That's
Councillor
okay.
Cook. If we can sign off the schedule of payments. Yeah?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Perfect. Then let's move on to pleased to receive the budget monitoring report. You can.
We agreed at a previous meeting that Paul and I would meet with Jane to explore ways of reformatting this report. And I think we're meeting her next week, just so you know.
Very exciting. Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Cook.
Doesn't work. Oh, yeah. It is. All right. Cafe and bar. Cafe and bar stock. We've got £1,109.26p of the allowance that was given to us by kind of 5,000. I see that the cafe and bar income is £1,104.43. So, obviously, are we not looking at profit and loss here, or in any way, shape, or form, or are we just recording what we spend and what we take without any reference to what that is, or
So if I could answer,
how
Connor
many
may
events
have
that is, or
Connor may have another answer, but we do actually do that in the group.
yeah,
The town bar revenue raising.
So I can actually assume then that the takings of £1,109.26 exclude VAT.
I will refer to our clerk.
I hope so.
The budget monitoring report, yes, excludes VAT because we account not taking into account VAT unless it's an item we can't claim it back on. But the Town Hall Revenue Subcommittee receives a report after each event which looks at the cost of sales against income. So yes, it's all lumped together in this report, but the Town Hall Revenue Subcommittee, which I hope you'll be able to join us at the next one, Councillor Cook, gets a more detailed view.
Yeah.
That could naturally just be ongoing after every event and after every stock purchase, surely.
Sorry,
Yes, it
Councillor.
is.
Yes.
But it gets reported to the actual meeting. So we have stock that is still downstairs, so we haven't sold everything we've bought.
No.
Off the top of my head, I don't know what the figures actually are that you're referring to, because I was trying to get the schedule of payments back when you read them out.
Yeah.
But so far, the bar cafe has washed its face. It hasn't lost money, but there are stocks still downstairs to be sold. And the town council's agreed to do it for a financial year.
That's right, yeah.
It's baby steps, so you'll just have to keep your eyes on the numbers there, Councillor Cook, and hopefully join us at the next subcommittee.
Magically, and all I can see so far is that over April, May, June, July, effectively 4 months, you've only taken £1,100 on the cafe and the bar.
There's only been a handful of events, Councillor Cook. But we'll go into more detail at the next Town Hall Revenue Subcommittee.
Thank you, Councillor
Okay.
Wright.
Right.
Can I just check, please, that the town hall lettings and the car park things, that numbers under the budget, I presume that's for the whole year, and that we've only just taken a little bit, which is why we have those huge variances.
Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, so the way that it's structured, Councillor White, let me get out my little pointy. The actual is what we have taken, or have received, or have spent. The budget is what we expect to spend or receive across the entire year, and then the variance is the difference. So you should find toward the end of the financial year, the variance gets smaller and smaller.
Thank you, Connor. Councillor Cousins and then
Your Worship, I think that Councillor Cook raises a good point around the way that our expenditure is presented to us in the schedule of payments. In this document, I think that it would help councillors a great deal if we could departmentalise the income and expenditure together, so that if we saw how much it costs to run the car park underneath the income from the car park, and then what sort of surplus or revenue that's generating or not for us, that would give councillors a much better idea of how our operations are functioning financially. And that possibly would help us understand these sets of accounts that we're presented every month. I'm not saying that we should dispense with this form that we're looking at now, but it could be a supplement where the various parts are departmentalised. And if we're using some form of Excel spreadsheet or whatever, then that'd be quite a simple process to set up, where items could be taken from this main document and departmentalised, and then could be then a rolling sort of story of how we're doing. Because all we see here is the gross income versus the gross expenditure and our gross surplus or not. And I think the fact that then that is supplemented by the precept doesn't really help us understand how our commercial operations are happening.
Thank you, Councillor Cousins. Can I refer back to what Lokabandu said about 5 minutes ago, that they are actually overhauling that, and everything you've just said is what they are taking into consideration. Thank you very much. Any more, please? Yes, thank you, Councillor. And then Terry.
Just note that the notes for the budget monitoring report are available online. Quite difficult to see.
Oh, do you want my copy? Yes, sorry, have my copy. You have got one. Okay, so you're finding it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
The clerk's put it up now.
Lovely, thank you. Are you having problems with your? You are. Perfect. Yes, please. Sorry, I didn't see who was first. Councillor Napper.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just intrigued on to know what the climate emergency group is spending the money on. They've spent £700 so far, and there's a budget of 5.7. I'm just intrigued to know what that money is going on.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to answer, or I can answer? There's a newsletter that they put out. So the newsletter each week, I think it's weekly, that they have, so it'll be on the buses, the local buses, or they'll do something on, there we go. Why don't, please, Serena, save me.
Sorry, I thought I'd just done it for you.
Fine. Serena, I can see you perfectly well.
There we go. Yes, so we've got a budget of £700 for the climate emergency and ecological advisory. So far, we have spent £58 on newsletters, and the newsletters go out from the information store at the Tuesday market. And they are things on how people can insulate their houses, where they can get local food, useful information to help people in their everyday life. And the other one was bus company posters that have been put up. So there's a lot of information being put up on all of the bus shelters, giving people information about timetables, and about the £2 fare that is happening until September. So all of this is information for the people of Glastonbury to help them reduce their everyday costs in terms of energy, in terms of transport and that sort of thing. So as I said, at the moment of the 700, we've spent £58, we've spent £64 of the 700 so far.
Thank you very much, Serena. Is that okay? Lovely. Councillor Cook.
Thank you. I just want that clarification.
Thank you.
I might have missed the meeting here, but it's just about just looking at the tour bus contribution. I thought it was £7,000 last year, and now it's £11,000.
Do you have
What's
an
happened there?
update on
No,
that?
it was last financial year it was £11,000, Councillor Cook, and this financial year they asked for an increase and it's £14,000 this year. So I believe the invoice for the first half was only received yesterday, so it won't be on the schedule of payments, but should be on the next schedule of payments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Sorry, Councillor White, did you?
No, I was just going to say it did come up at one of the meetings, and we sort of discussed in depth whether
Yes.
that was the tour bus, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we thought it was a worthwhile asset.
Perfect. I remember that meeting. Thank you, Councillor Cousins.
Thank you. Just a point of clarity, Your Worship. The £14,000 is an annual payment to Mendip Community Transport for supporting the bus service that runs from the car park to the Tor and then around back down through St Edmunds. Is that the full cost of that operation, or are other organisations making contributions?
Somerset Council makes a roughly equal contribution of £14,000. The reason that our contribution hadn't risen in the same time period that Somerset Council's did was that their contract was linked with either RPI or CPI, I can't remember which one. Ours wasn't. So Mendip Community Transport asked this financial year for an increase from us. That brings it up to £14,000 for us, £14,000 Somerset Council puts in, and I believe then any surplus on the fares offsets the additional costs that Mendip Community Transport go to in providing that service.
Thank you. Sorry, did you have a? You didn't. Any more, please, on the budget monitoring report? So, can we sign them off? Aye, Vice.
Aye.
Thank you very much, councillors. Brilliant. Do I sign anything?
No, we don't need to sign that one, Your
Lovely.
Worship. It just goes in the folder.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Right, moving on to item number 8, please, to consider agreeing the Town Centre Crime Reduction Advisory Committee terms of reference. So if people had a chance to see it, oh, there we go, it's up there. So this is now, it's an advisory committee.
I didn't even know I was on it.
Because you're the Somerset councillor.
Yeah. So it was circulated in advance of the meeting, Your Worship. I've highlighted on this bit of the screen some of the pertinent information, but there's also some more later on, but I don't want to make people feel sick by scrolling too quickly.
Thank you. So this is page 1. We're okay with page 1? Fabulous. Page 2. Oh, sorry. Yeah, page 2. There we go. Lovely. Then it's just the principles. So yes, it's the Nolan principles. Yes, Councillor Osborne.
What we meant by town centre, whether we wanted to actually define that, because one of the places where there seems to be quite a lot of antisocial behaviour, particularly parking, is outside the old pumping house that's now called the White Spring. There's lots of bad parking there, and it's a big problem.
Thank you, Councillor Osborne. I think this is very much the centre, because that was where the spike in crime and worry. And I think parking is not really our jurisdiction, really. Sorry, I don't know who was first.
And I also wanted to say, when you say residents where? I mean, I live in the High Street, and quite a lot of people live in the High Street.
Yeah.
I think people actually live in that. So, you know, whatever we're defining as the town centre should be the residents that we're talking about. And the same with business representatives. They should be high street.
Absolutely.
I think we need to have that, that stated on this.
Thank you. Thank you, yes. Good point. Councillor Smythe and Councillor Cousins.
I'd just like to take up the point Councillor Osborne's just made, because a lot of the antisocial behaviour does actually occur outside of the town centre, and it would be a bit of a remiss not to consider that. I'm thinking of areas such as Tor Leisure, I'm thinking of Wiriel Hill, and periphery of the town. I think that ought to be part of the remit of this committee.
Thank you, Councillor Smythe. Councillor Cousins and then Councillor White.
Thank you. So councillors will recall that this now advisory committee was set up under the request of the police itself and at a higher level than our team. And councillors will recall that superintendent and I believe chief constable came to the council to talk about this. The reason why the focus is on the town centre is the St Benedict's figures that we've seen in the report that we received. And St Benedict's is by far the worst place for criminal activity within the town, and that is the area the police are focusing on. As regards with parking, of course, that's not a criminal offence anymore. That is an offence that the New Unitary Authority has officers. I believe they used to be called traffic wardens in my day, but I don't know what they're called now. Enforcement officers who possibly don't get out as much as they could do in our area.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Councillor Cousins. Councillor Smythe.
Just to say that I believe Councillor Cousins attended the last meeting because he was actually on the list on the committee instead of myself.
Yes, yes, you did. Thank you.
If the clerk could record that, because I did receive an invitation.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor White.
Thank you. Yes, so from an earlier meeting of that committee, the Sergeant Lancy had said specifically it's not for crime through the whole of Glastonbury. It's antisocial behaviour and trying to reduce that and make people feel that the streets are safer.
Thank you very much, Councillor White, for that clarification. Thank you. So we're on page 3.
Point of clarity, Your Worship. Who are the voting members? Does it actually state?
It says, do you want names?
No, your role. Which role?
Full members shall have a vote. All members. No, where are you? Under 6. Voting will be by... Is that what you're asking about the voters?
Yes.
Yes. Voting.
Item 6.
Yes, sorry. Thank you.
Item 3.
Yes, Councillor.
Sorry, right, reply. If all members have a vote, then do we need to specify voting members? I think we need to move further down in the document.
Okay, sorry.
The total number of voting members. So that should just be members, surely, if all members are voting.
All members of the advisory committee shall have a vote on recommendation.
Quorum.
Section 5.
Quorum, 1/3.
Just be total number of members, as they're all voting members.
Okay, thank you. So back to page 3. Yes, Councillor White.
I propose that we accept these terms of reference.
Thank you very much. All in favour? That is a brilliant full house. Thank you, councillors. Right, moving swiftly on. To consider agreeing Set of terms of reference for the new A361 committee, agreeing its membership and setting a date for the first meeting. Fabulous. So terms, have you got them in front? You've got them up there. Fantastic. Thank you. So page 1. Yes, Councillor McDougall.
Seems to be a little bit limited for what people expect.
Can you suggest another addition or?
Any matters relating to highways, in addition, somewhere in the wording.
Any matters relating to the highways?
Too general.
Is that in general, Councillor McDougall, or just with respect to the A361?
I think it's.
I did take this wording from the previous terms of reference of the last A361 committee. It was one of the few committees I could find a terms of reference for that existed before I was here. I'm happy if my worry was making it too generic. It will be a very large topic and will take up a lot of time and a lot of effort. Was my concern.
Right to reply?
Is it possible for the people who join it to have a little discussion about why they and
could
review their terms of reference?
Could accept the terms of reference, appoint a membership, and then yes, they could propose propose amendments. Yeah, you could do it that way rather than discuss it around this table.
Fabulous. That would be a fantastic first meeting. Councillor Cousins.
Well, I'm be all in favour of accepting the document on that premise, but I think that the reason why the A361 became a topic at all was the movement of the heavy goods vehicles through the town. And I would hope that rather than being just a general discussion about traffic in general, that we would keep that focus on reducing the amount of HGVs that this town has to suffer.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Manning.
A clarification that we're agreeing the terms of reference here. So surely if the A361 committee decide they want to change the terms of reference, they have to come back to us to say, we'd like to make these changes. It's not something that they can just do themselves.
Good point. Thank you, Councillor Manning.
Yeah, that's correct.
Brilliant. Right. With all that in mind, how do we feel about, well, let's go to page 2 and then it's, yes, page 3. Where are we up there? There we go, voting. So page 2, and it's the Nolan Principles, administrative report, support. Lovely, we have a town clerk. Thank you. So would somebody like to recommend? Yes,
Point of order. I'm very conscious that the town clerk is a relatively rare resource for the council, i.e. we only have one town clerk and he does do an extraordinary amount of work. I'm very capably, but I just think that this council does need to pause at some point and reflect upon the burden that we place upon the clerk in these respects. And again, I think that should be in the minds of the members of this committee when they can reconsider the terms of reference.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cousins. Yes, I actually read that as a town clerk, but it's the town clerk. Right.
You only have one of me.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
I could certainly do with splitting myself down the middle.
We're looking into that. Yes, you do have the ability to delegate. I am assured by my deputy.
Yeah. Everyone's equally as busy as I am. I can assure you of that.
Absolutely. Okay. With that in mind, how do we feel about passing these terms of reference? Do we have a... Yes, Councillor White.
I would be happy to suggest that we accept this.
Yes.
just before we take a vote, if I may, it doesn't say that it's an advisory committee, so am I?
No, it's a
It's a
committee.
working group.
Working group.
It's a working group. It's
No,
what
it's a full committee that can make,
Oh, thank you.
can make, no, you
It's a new
couldn't have voting members of the public in a full committee. It's not, I don't think you could argue it's the promotion of tourism. So it would be councillors. But the members could invite people to make representations, and the meetings would be open to the public, so you'd have public participation, but you wouldn't have public members.
Yeah.
The idea was to try and streamline its work. If it made a decision to recommend to Somerset Council that it, say, for instance, rerouted the strategic freight route, you wouldn't have to wait for it to come to full council for you all to go, yes, we quite like that idea. It was just, that was hopefully to streamline it, that it could make, because it can only, because we don't have any powers over the highways, it can only make a decision to make a recommendation anyway.
I was going to streamline it even more this evening by suggesting a motion, but I'll withhold that.
Jolly good.
It goes a long way round.
Thank you for holding your motions.
Your Worship, I propose that we accept the terms of reference.
Thank you very much. All in favour?
We need a seconder.
Oh, yes, I thought I had, yeah, second. Anyway. All in favour?
Who seconded, sorry?
I did.
Councillor Smythe,
Councillor
thank you.
Smythe. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? I have Tony and sorry, Serena, I didn't see your hand.
I'm sorry, I didn't put my hand up. I'm struggling. I am here, but I'm struggling.
All good. Are you for the terms? Are you happy with the terms?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
great. Thank you very much. Okay. Brilliant. Oh, and now for its members, I think. Agreeing its membership and setting a date for its first meeting. Who would like to be in this new
I think I'd better be
committee?
on there.
Fantastic. If you'd say your names, please, so we have.
Councillor Cousins.
Penny Dougal.
White.
McDougall. Smythe. Don Francesco.
Cottle.
Cottle. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Date of the first meeting?
Not soon enough.
Huh.
Daytime meeting, I hope.
Well, let's set. Oh,
Saturdays are always good for me in the day.
oh my God. Saturday evening, somewhere more salubrious, excuse me. Right, can somebody suggest a date while we get our
No, I haven't got
diaries?
a diary. It's full, so I'll just have to.
Okay, there we go. Wonderful. Somebody suggest a date?
Let's do the 2nd of August.
Wednesday, 2nd August is good for me.
Wednesday.
7 p.m.
Oh, so late.
Councillor Cottle, Your Worship, if in point of clarity, it may be worth asking the county councillor when he is free, and
Yes,
then we can try and
please.
work around his.
That's a great plan. Thank you. When are you free, Councillor Cottle?
Oh, thank you. I prefer earlier in the day, to be honest.
Objection. Some of us have to pay the bills, work to pay the bills.
But I will do 7 o'clock at night, but you're not going to see the traffic anyway.
We're not, I don't think we want to see the traffic.
No.
No.
So I will do the 7 o'clock one.
You will do, okay. Are there
Providing
any during the
I'm,
days you can't do? Are you
free.
busy every day during the day? Every day, okay. So evenings are acceptable. Can we choose an evening? We're in August.
Wednesday 2nd.
I just mentioned about the 2nd of August.
Yep.
There's property and assets on the 19th of July, finance and general purposes on the 25th of July, St Dunstan's House Implementation Subcommittee on the 26th of July, and then full council on the 8th of August. I
Yep.
fear I'll be doing very little other than writing agendas and writing minutes. If it could maybe be later, how would Tuesday the 29th of August? I'll just check the diary
We've got
here.
ACE committee on the 29th of August.
So you do.
Wednesday?
Property and assets that day. How about the 22nd of August?
Okay.
I'm good for the 22nd of August.
I'm good for that.
22nd of August, going once?
September.
No, August.
What day of the week?
That's a
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Okay, good for that.
Well, if it was,
I'll go for it, but I've got.
is there a day of the week that best suits you, Councillor
Yes.
Cottle?
Unfortunately,
No.
no.
Well, look,
I
can we
know that
push the
feeling.
boat out?
I'm just going to have to squeeze things around to make it happen.
Thank you. If you can push the boat out for that one,
Yeah.
and then let's, in the first meeting, get the dates down.
Yeah.
That we can all be happy with, but that would be great. It would be grateful if you could do that. Sorry.
I was just going to suggest September, because August looks pretty well jam-packed.
Okay, how do we feel about September? Moving it on?
Yeah, I thought we'd agreed the 22nd of August.
Yeah, well, okay, great. Back to the 22nd? We're okay. All right, let's do it. Thank you. So A361 committee, first meeting here, 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nick.
Oh, that'll be a struggle, but I'll make it happen.
Okay, thank you. No, it'd be good. And then, as I said, we can work round. Thank you very much. So, skipping item 10. Item 11, please, on the agenda to note the resolutions of delegated committees. So, we have the planning. No, where are we?
Noted.
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 Sorry, I just want to have a look to see if those Manor House, what happened? Refusal. Okay, great. Thank you. Noted. Do we need to? Just need to note it, yes? Thank you.
Yeah. Can I just have a quick word on that, on planning? Can I advise, I don't know who the chairman of the town council planning one is that when you get something and it comes to me and I push it forward to the planning committee, it would be a really good idea if the chairman or somebody delegated from the planning committee came to the planning committee at Mendip, at East Somerset, and put the case. Okay? Can I just ask that? Is that fine?
Please.
Well, if you've made an opinion on something, okay, whatever application it may be, and I've decided that it goes to the planning committee at Somerset East, it would be very helpful, and for your own point of view, if you came, a representative of the town council was to come and take a 3-minute speaking slot. And it would be sensible. It's never been done properly before.
Great.
And I've been getting quite a lot of people to come because opinions are important. And if it just somebody reads out something, well, it just gets, So it's much better if that happens. I'd like to see that happen if we could. It's not very often that we get that many come through from Glastonbury.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Councillor Cousins, do you want
A
to?
point of clarity, that you're asking for a representative of this committee's, this council's planning committee to come and state the position of the planning committee as statutory advisory committee to your own planning committee when they're dealing with an item from Glastonbury, and not asking for the opinion of the chair, but the opinion of the council. Is that correct?
That would be correct, and that would help a lot, because it's all very well to see on a piece of paper where, oh, the Glastonbury Town Council think that that's a bad idea or they rejected it. But if you actually get somebody come and speak for the 3 minutes, public participation, or it's not public, it's for people, it's a good idea and it would be helpful.
Right, reply, Your Worship. It may be very useful then if the clerk to the planning authority, Mendip East, could notify the clerk of Glastonbury Town Council when your meetings are, so that we would know when to send a representative and where.
I believe that Connor is
See how that one goes. Lovely. Okay, any more from the Delegated Committee of Planning? Lovely, all noted?
Noted.
Lovely, noted. Great. Moving on, thank you very much. To full council climate and ecological emergency advisory committee. Would anybody like to speak to this, or shall we, to the recommendations? Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. Speaking to Nick again, as a unitary councillor, a request came through the committee that you could ensure, not ensure, but request that multi-use pathways are cleared of vegetation, perhaps quarterly, and then see what you come back with.
I'll stand up and hold on. Yeah, I'm already complaining on a constant basis, and I will carry on complaining because the way it grows and other things. A couple of other things I'll mention in a minute, but yeah, definitely I'll put that in.
While we're there, I'll just talk about the other recommendations that came through that committee. One was that Glastonbury Town Council set dates for quarterly litter picks like we used to, which would be fully supported by the advisory committee and members there. That would be great. And that the Glastonbury Town Council sets some form of recognition for people who take part. I suppose they're not thinking Blue Peter badges, but something. The other thing, there was a recommendation that I've mentioned, is that Glastonbury Town Council get an explanation board similar to the ones used on the Glastonbury Way, an interpretation board it could be called, for Fisher's Hill. I think we may have the a frame left over from the Glastonbury Way, so that we can inform the public of the ecological and social benefits of the project. That was the recommendation that came through the committee. There would be a cost involved for that, obviously.
So, so these recommendations, to vote on them?
Yeah.
Note.
Just note them. Just note them. Okay. Can I suggest we put the quarterly list picks on the next month's agenda?
Could I just interject there? Would it be possible for us to vote on block on those three recommendations now, just to move it forward, because all of them are quite simple.
Yeah, so that's what I was asking whether we need to vote on it.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor.
Just to note that we have got an action taking place in a few weeks' time for clearing the town centre for Glastonbury and Bloom. Whether that could be like the first one, and then we do it quarterly thereafter.
Lovely. I like that suggestion. Is that a proposal?
Yes, it could. That could be included within the recommendations. I think that is said. But I think just to move things on, could I ask that we vote on all three recommendations?
We do, but do we not need a budget for the third one to do the board before we can vote on it, before we know what direction we're voting on? Price-wise? I mean, we can agree in theory and then have it priced. Yeah?
Agree in principle.
Agree in principle. Fabulous. Yeah, no, they absolutely do. Yep, brilliant. Okay, great. So can we move, are you proposing then that we...
Recommendations are all...
Second proposal.
Thank you very much. All in favour for passing the three in principle? Thank you very much. We have anyone, lovely, anyone against? Anyone abstaining? We have 3 abstainers. Thank you, councillors. Almost there. Right. Oh, to receive the unitary. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Oh, gosh.
It was the Frost Fair recommendations.
Perfect.
Would you like me to speak to that as I was at that meeting? Just about. So because the road closure costs are going to go up,
the town clerk recommended that we increase the pitch prices by 10% in order to cover the increase in cost of the road closures for the Frost Fair. And so these are the new prices that have been recommended. That's inside the town hall, where there's electricity costs and so on, that they go up to 60 and 90, that's a 10% increase. Outside, where of course there's no cost, it's 50 and 80. And the suitcase pitch was actually slightly higher, it was at 35, it's been reduced to 25 because last year only 2 people applied for suitcase pitches, and it was thought to try to encourage more suitcase pitches to bring the price down for them. And the Frost Fair Advisory Committee would ask this town council to accept these new pitch prices.
Thank you, Serena.
I propose we accept the recommendation, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second there? Rather than next slide. So can we all in favour of thank you, councillors. Thank you. That was unanimous. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Serena.
May I please be excused now?
Absolutely, my lovely. So it is 9 o'clock, and as we agreed, or is it 9:30 we agreed? Okay, still got a little way. Thank you, Serena. Brilliant. So item number 13 to receive unitary councillor report.
Here, you've had one through today, I believe, a large stuff. Now, I'll add a couple of things there that might be of quick importance to you. One, the strike has been postponed for 2 weeks, if you didn't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
wage collection.
Yeah, the wage collection. So that it will be put your stuff out this week, okay? It's been postponed for 2 weeks. That's really important. That come through today. There is a chance of an agreement. I've got to say it's just a chance, that one. You are aware that the 10% rise on the parking charges? No? No? Yeah, so car parking charges will be going up by 10%. That's another one that will affect you, and I think affects the charging, because Glastonbury Town Council charges are sort of linked to the Somerset Council ones, what was mended. Okay, so you might want to be looking at that.
Yes.
What else is there? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Generally, lots of movement on different things, as you've seen with the town board deal, which I presume Mike will
speak about in a moment.
You'll fill people in on that and what's happening. There's been a few problems. I'm going to be honest. Since they've done away with the district, my inbox and my time is full. I now do between a 50 and a 60-hour week on council business, one way or the other, and it's mounting and it's getting heavier as I go along. And because if people phone you up or send you an email and you need to look at something or you need to go and talk to them, it's not necessarily strictly in the rules of the councillor, but you feel that you should go and at least speak to them. So it does, yeah. So it is, and I'm increasingly doing more meetings with at Somerset at the council. I'm filling in for people and stuff quite a lot now. And as you're aware, I'm chair of the planning Somerset East, and that alone is one very hefty job. And so, yeah, it's a busy old time, and people in Glastonbury, I will assure you, have got more problems than you would ever believe, and of all different types. It's quite shocking, actually, the social and economic degradation. The things are bad, and it's quite worrying. It doesn't look so bad on the surface when you look at it and you see all the people walking around the high street and all this, that and the other. But honestly, no, things aren't good. And I don't know what the future holds for a lot of people. And because with the rents and your mortgages and everything else going up, and it's increasing cost of living, very difficult for people. The wages, yeah, it's not good. Very sad, actually. And it gets on my nerves. But yeah, I'll take any questions. Lily, I can see you want to.
I just wondered if you knew anything about recruitment of social workers since the loss of the Athena contract, because I'm finding it very, very hard to contact social workers, and the waiting list for getting a deprivation of liberty order at the moment is something like 6 months, which is crazy.
Send me a private DM outside and I'll look into it for you tomorrow, okay? And like I've been, some of the other stuff I've been picking up other councillors' work for them and helping. And it really is quite shocking, the state of things in the town that we just don't see on an everyday. Because I had saying my old board, district board, I had that down to a T, and now I'm doing the whole town basically. There's some different issues and problems arising, all the way from the drug abuse all the way through to rats in houses and you name it, it's there. Okay, thanks. Yes, John. Sorry.
Thank you very much for your report. Would there be any merit in you having a regular monthly meeting with the members of this council to discuss the issues that you're having to deal with, to see if we, as a support to you in your role, can actually help you with some of the burden?
Yeah, I've got no problems with that. If we find a time, I'm quite happy to have an hour or a half-hour meeting. Yeah, it's just an informal one, maybe somewhere. Yeah, that would work. I'm fine with that.
Oh, well, I only asked the councillor here because he was saying about the workload that he had. Of course, we could extend the invitation to both of our councillors.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, yeah.
Thank you. So there was an incident outside on the road here this morning, so on that rumble strip, and Connor suggested I mention it at this point because we talked about highways.
Yeah, I'm already on that one. I've got quite a bit, the whole high street, to be quite truthful with you, and other bits.
Yeah, I saw the bitumen thing that you did. So anyway, here on this rumble strip, a lady fell down this morning, hurt herself. The 2 police were coming along. They persuaded her to go to West Mendip. So there's a police report, there's a hospital report. She's on holiday from Lytham St Anne's. And so she sort of cut here, and she is sending an email.
Did they take a photo?
There's numerous photos. I've even got one of her, she sort of fell about this distance away from me.
Yeah.
And so then I've got one photo of her lying on the side of the road here. But basically, it's like wonky roads. It's totally unsafe.
Totally.
Yeah. Totally. And so now we've got like a real incident in real time. We were sitting there. The policeman was just coming up, so I explained about that. They took her to the hospital, gave her a stitch and X-ray, penicillin for 5 days. And so she has, I'm not sure who she's written to. She said she'd copied to me because I happened to take her information, like her phone number and text. And so she told me after, and then came back afterwards, while we were still at the wood stall, and said thank you. And
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mike. There was something else I was going to add as well, but yeah, carry on, Lily.
Sorry, I mentioned it to Susie and I've mentioned it to you as well online, but it was the thing about the tattoo shop, the admin people.
Yeah, I've already got that checked out. Yeah.
Because it looks like people are getting licensed without having planning.
Yeah, I've had that.
Their insurance, and it means they can't have their yellow bags taken away, which is a real issue.
They've had a visit.
Oh, good.
Okay, I can assure you of that. They've had a visit. Now I was going to mention something else, and it's just slipped my mind now.
So we were talking about roads, and
we're talking about roads. It'll come to me.
drain sucking? Drains?
Oh, drains are terrible.
This rain has been,
The-
because we've had the driest, hottest June on record, and now we're having a very wet July. So when everything is caked, and then you get huge part of water, body of water,
And then
and it's just
goes
absolute
over the
flooding.
top, doesn't sink in.
Yeah.
Yeah. If what the other one I was going to mention comes to me, I'll say it. You know.
Thank you. Just literally jump up and jump in.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? I enjoyed the tree planting canopy cover
Oh, yeah.
proposal at the beginning of your report. Thank you very much.
That's good.
Now it's me. Wow, Mayor's announcements.
Do you want item 14?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's the white.
Thank you. Just a little bit about Town Deal. Not a great deal is happening because we're just sort of between meetings. The town clerk, bless his little cotton socks, finally managed to get Historic England, I believe it was, to come and look at the balcony. And they looked at it and said, that needs replacing. Do you have any update on that, like on the change plans or anything?
Well, essentially what happened was Historic England were objecting to our plan to replace the balcony because they felt it was very historic, but they hadn't come to have a look at it. They came to have a look at it, and the poor gentleman's face dropped. So we were joined by the planning officer, conservation officer, a member of the Town Deal programme team, myself, an architect, a care registered structural engineer. There was a merry band of us, and we discussed solutions to the balcony, which was holding up the planning application. Also, drainage was holding up the planning application. The drainage has been sorted. I've seen some documents have gone onto the planning application for St Dunstan's House a couple of days ago, asking the drainage consultee if the information we've now provided is enough for her to remove her objection. That has to do with discharge rates into the sewers from surface water. In terms of the balcony, it's been agreed that we can replace the balcony with a timber structure.
Wow.
We are no longer going to have a platform lift within the balcony, which also will mean we are not going to change the sash window on the first floor. We are going to remove the internal staircase in the renovated part of the front of St Dunstan's House, which has no historic value whatsoever because it was put in 2015-16. And we're going to put a more conventional passenger lift in that corner, so it improves access to the first floor, creates a safe balcony, and stops a sash window being changed into a door. And that sash window is quite a historic one. So overall, thanks to that meeting, to the help from the Town Deal programme team, getting Historic England out to actually come and have a look at it, we now have a way forward that will mean the building will be safe to use.
Oh my God, can we have a clap for that?
Big thank you.
Best news I've heard on it.
The farm, Bridie's Farm, Holly just sent a newsletter this evening, and they had to do a pollution survey because we're still not exactly sure where the old town dump was. And the other thing is an archaeological survey. And so anyway, she said the planning bit, so they want to change use from agriculture to agriculture and education. And so if that actually goes, they're thinking that that'll be about August, September time. If that goes through, that is a big sort of step in the right direction, because the 5 mile food and farming sort of agricultural, agroecology area, a lot of people asked about where they could do education on agricultural, permaculture, holistic issues. And so if that goes through, suddenly there'll be like a sort of reasonable teaching centre there. And then the other thing was the Life Factory, Building C at Red Brick. They now have 9 apprentices, so in the construction industry there. Not all full-time, but I think altogether they want 24. And the last bit was the Abbey, and I think they've got even more money now. So they'd already had a 250k grant, and I think they've just got another 200k. So they're pretty sort of ready to rock and roll, I think.
Brilliant, thank you. John Cubbins.
Thank you, Worship.
I wonder if we should actually record a formal vote of thanks to the town clerk for actually solving the issue with the balcony. I believe that the planning application was the only thing it was able to hold.
Oh, yes, please do. All agreed. All agreed, say aye. Aye. Fabulous. Gosh, well done. Tenacity. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Councillor White. Do we have any questions about the town deal?
Can I just clarify something? I had an email from Lena Sedgemoor in the week regarding the Open University. Have you seen it? Have anybody else seen it? There is a deal that has been done with the Open University for anybody in Glastonbury to go on their courses for free. All you need to do is prove you live in Glastonbury, and we're extending this, or it's been extended to people who live in caravans, because all they have to do is have a note from us, I presume, or somebody saying that they are part of the residents. So this is a whole new education service that is open to anybody. The Open University is part of, I think it's the town. Am I right?
Yeah, right to reply.
Thank you, Margaret.
That will fit inside the Robert Richards initiative. The website that's just come out, at the moment they say it's just a soft launch. So it's not a full-on public launch, but it will be a bit further down the road. So I presume they'll have another open day at some point. But yeah, so that's part. So there is education through there. And then also what we were talking earlier about with Strode College. So that's another avenue for courses. He's already got money for courses for people, you know, so we're really trying to push that into the, to make it available for us.
Brilliant, very exciting.
I've already notified the Glastonbury Information Centre. So that's, and they know that it is absolutely free. I mean, the Open University, it's most of the courses, ecological courses, all the things that are close to our hearts here in Glastonbury. And we've got now the opportunity for anybody to go forward to get that qualification. So it's a big step, and you know, I think it's really worth us promoting it quite strongly, especially as it actually is extended to the non-bricks and mortar people who wouldn't normally have this opportunity.
Perfect. That is such good news. Thank you so much. Good news. It's very exciting. Thank you. Any more questions or comments? Brilliant. Moving on to item 15, unless there's any more representatives from outside bodies. Okay, yes, thank you.
I'm not a representative of this, but I went to the Bridging the Gap AGM, and I'd just like to report back. Well, obviously they've got more people on their books. I noticed on their website they want more drivers, but at the meeting they mentioned that they wanted more people to help with the phone line, which is coordinating deliveries and taking the orders as well. So I just thought I'd report back on that one.
Thank you. Is there any way we can? Yes, sorry, Councillor Cottle.
No, I've remembered what I was going to speak about, so do
yeah,
that
and then we
first.
will come straight back to you
Yeah,
can
okay,
remember
I will.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll say it now if you like, then, because it actually involves Lindsay. We're aware that the LCN starts on the 19th for the full meeting, and Lindsay, you're going to be the town council's representative, aren't you? It's going to be busy. I will assure you of that. This is not going to be a one where you go and sit down for an hour or two. I think over time, the first year might be a bit okay, yeah, not too busy, but it's definitely going to be a busy thing. I've already had some kind of a warning about this, so be aware. That's all I was going to say.
No, that's fabulous. Thank you.
Okay.
And we wish Lindsay every success. Yes. And I'm very excited to hear everything. I've got something to say about that in a bit, but let's go back to drivers. How can we help? How can we promote? How can we put this up? Can we put it on our website? Town Council's website or the Facebook?
I'm just letting councillors know that there's a need. Perhaps, yes, you can put it.
Could you do like a sentence and then we can promote it about what is needed and how to get in touch? Would that be all right?
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Okay. Any more representatives to outside bodies? Yes, thank you, Terry Napper.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I went to the AGM of the Carnival Committee
Brilliant.
last week, and everything is going reasonably well. Of course, there's always problems with monies, and I think that there's not a great deal to report. So things are going on fine, apart from the fiscal side of it. But we are in a reasonable position.
Brilliant. That's good to hear. I look forward to it. Loads of other mayors from other towns want to also come and walk the route if you want to report that back to the meeting.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you. Any more, please? Representative outside bodies reports. Thank you. Moving on. So the reason I was so excited, mayor's announcements. So hopefully this is the last change that there will be, but the new, what's it called? The Mayor's
Sunday.
It is a Mayor's Sunday, okay, fine. Mayor's Sunday is now going to be the 3rd of September. The reason it is the 3rd of September is because we have the Abbey, and I want the Abbey. We're kind of breaking with tradition. There won't be a procession. We want to save money going into the Abbey, and I would like it to be after the lunch back in the town hall. Who I'm going to be inviting is our LCNs. So I want it to be an LCN networking. So we will be working a little bit closely to try and make this happen. So it'll be a bit of a meet and greet, a bit of an announcement, but yes, we're kind of breaking a little bit with tradition. So I just wanted to say that.
Your Worship, when you say it's your actual Mayor Sunday service or whatever it is happening in the Abbey or in St John's Church?
No, it's happening here and the Abbey and then back here again. And the reason it's that date is because the Abbey is closing and that is the last time that they can make. So that is why this is happening as it is. Yes, Lindsay.
Is it a daytime event? Because I've got something on in the evening.
Yes, yes. Good. Oh, that's a shame, because we may have a Mayor's Ceilidh in the evening.
Oh.
We'll talk. Yeah, that'll be a fundraiser. Oh, another announcement. So the Mayor's charity, which is the Glastonbury Mental Health Network, at the fundraiser raised £668 for the Glastonbury Mental Health Network, and a further 260 for Plotgate in making. We'll do a publicity thing. Correspondence communication. So I've had a communication from the Mayor of Wells, and this is over the closing of St Andrews. So I knew that they had been involved. So on the request we had at the last meeting to look into it, to write letters of support. So this is from Tanis, the new Mayor of Wells, which we had a meeting. So it's not a done deal, but once Somerset has decided something, it invariably happens. I really do not want St Andrews to close. It'll be a travesty. They've already lost the Phoenix ward next door. I won't read all of it. So yes, they can't see a way to raising funds, and they have no money for anything, especially social care. And this is how they will raise money. So we can still, she has lobbied tirelessly to keep St Andrews open. Fingers crossed it's not a done deal. But yes, very worried. And if we can support it, that would be great. So if we could write a letter of support too. Yes?
Could we write a letter of support from the whole council?
That if people, that's a recommendation. Would people like to write a letter of support from us, bearing in mind that if this centre closes, which is a mental health centre, it is our closest, and where it be moved to, I think, is Taunton, Yeovil. Thank you. Where the buses are not suitable.
Stroke.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
If that was a proposal, Councillor Smith, I would second your proposal, and I would say that we would write as a corporate body, so a majority vote would suffice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, councillor. So let's take a vote, please. All in favour of writing a letter of support? Thank you. I think that is unanimous. Thank you, councillors. Thank you. Correspondence, communications, announcements. I think that was it, unless there was others. Yes, councillor.
Just one request. I was over in Street last week and Amy from the eco-friendly shop said she has a sustainable street open day on the 22nd of July, which is a Saturday or two ahead. And open from 10 until 4, different stalls, one of which I thought might interest Councillor Smythe is the Scythe Man. So the scything workshop.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I thought people might be interested.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, news releases. I would like to do a press release. I think we've got a massive cheque that we can write on to give over to the Glastonbury Mental Health Network and do publicity and put it out on the... Be great. Thank you. Any other things we think are newsworthy, notably?
May I make an announcement, Your Worship?
Yeah, please do.
On Sunday, the 6th of August, between 2 and 5, we're having our second annual celebration at Fisher's Hill. And it's been really, really good to see people there. It's lovely. We had a beautiful time last year. I think Terry enjoyed himself. And it's really, really come on. Hopefully the mower will be mended by then. But you're all very, very welcome to kind of anytime between 2 and 5.
2 and 5, thank you. Give me the date again.
Sunday, the 6th of August.
Oh, 6th of August, thank you. Lovely.
I will include proper invitations to all members of property and assets in the course of my reports until then.
Thank you,
very
Claire.
much.
That's great news. Gosh, has it been a year already? Fantastic. So, if that's all the news releases, perfect. Actions arising from this meeting, please, Connor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Shorter list than normal, which is very welcome. I'm going to email Councillor Cottle about the request by proxy from the church regards the churchyard. I'm going to call the first meeting of the A361 committee on the 22nd of August. I'm going to email all the members of the 2 working groups set up this evening, and then between yourselves you can decide when you're going to meet. And then I imagine let me know when you wish to bring back some findings or recommendations to full council, and it can be a full council agenda item, but I'll outline that in my email. The letter of support for the St Andrews ward remaining open, I did have a question. Who's that action for? Are you writing that, Your Worship, or am I writing that?
Yes, Michael? Right. Yeah.
That's quite a good idea.
Absolutely.
And I have the action to use for the first time our presentation charity cheque, the new one that's not emblazoned with the logo of a bank that we are not going to be banking with very shortly. And that will go out once we've had the opportunity to do that photo opportunity. Your Worship.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Smythe.
With all due respect, would you also give diary dates for the recommendation for the 4 litter picking Sundays? Bearing in mind we've got one identified already, so if you could like space for 3 or 4.
Yes, thank you. I will delegate that to a member of the team to put them in the diary. And so
Oh, great. Okay, I'd said I don't mind coming and helping with those dates either, just to make sure it doesn't clash. So note the date of the next ordinary meeting is Tuesday the 9th of August. It's the 8th, is it?
That would have been a keystroke error. I apologise.
Thank you very much. So that is Tuesday the 8th of August, is that correct?
Yes.
Brilliant.
That is correct. I
Well
apologise.
spotted. No, it's good to keep us on our toes, Connor. Thank you. And
Just making sure you all read it.
Yes, exactly. Well spotted, the deliberate mistake. And just to say, I will be away from Monday, so anything important happens, Councillor Lokabandu, Deputy, will be stepping into the emergency role. Perfect.